two powerful neighbors, so one a communist superpower, the other a kingdom of oil and tradition. But what really happened between the USSR and Iran? Was it all about oil politics or fear of influence? Let's explore the fascinating and sometimes tense relationship between the Soviet Union and Iran. Don't miss this deep dive into Cold War politics, revolutions, and secret deals. Stay with us till the end. The relationship between the USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and Iran was full of ups and downs. These two countries shared a long border and a long history. Their ties were shaped by politics, war, oil, and Cold War. Early relations. In the 19th century, before the USSR even existed, the Russian Empire was already involved in Iran. Russia and Britain were powerful countries. They competed for control in Iran. This was called the Great Game. Iran was weak, and both Russia and Britain wanted to influence in the region. After the 1917 Russian Revolution, when the Bolsheviks took control of Russia in 1917, the USSR was formed. The new Soviet government gave up all past Russian claims on Iranian lands. This made Iran happy. In 1921, both countries signed a treaty of friendship. The USSR promised not to interfere in Iran's internal issues, but they also said if enemies used Iran to take the USSR, they would have the right to send troops. Oil and power in the 1940s. In the World War II, both Britain and the USSR invaded Iran in 1941. Iran was neutral, but they were worried Iran might support Nazi Germany. The Allies used Iran to transport supplies to the Soviet Union. After the war, British and American troops left Iran, but the Soviet Union stayed in northern Iran. The USSR wanted to control oil in northern Iran. They supported local groups in Azerbaijan and Kurdistan to break away from Iran. This led to a serious crisis. Iran asked the United Nations for help. Under pressure from the US and the UN, the USSR finally left in 1946. This was one of the first major Cold War conflicts. Iran's fear of communism. During the Cold War, Iran was afraid of communism. The Shah of Iran, King Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was strongly pro-Western. He received support from the US. In 1953, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh tried to nationalize the oil industry. He wanted to take control from British and American companies. The US and Britain organized a group and removed Mossadegh. The USSR was against this and supported Iran's right to control its own resources. But Iran became even closer to the West and joined anti-communist groups like CENTO. Iranian Revolution of 1979. In 1979, everything changed. The Shah was overthrown, and Iran became an Islamic republic, and Ayatollah Khomeini, the USSR hoped this would bring a new chance for friendship, but it didn't happen. Khomeini didn't trust either of West or the USSR. He called the US the Great Satan and the USSR the Lesser Satan. Iran was now an independent force with its own Islamic ideology. It did not want Western and Soviet influence. Iran-Iraq War and the USSR. In 1980, Iraq attacked Iran. This war lasted 8 long years. The USSR supported Iraq with weapons and advice. This made Iran even more suspicious of the Soviets. At the same time, Iran also got weapons from other sources, including secret help from the US, like in the Iran-Contra affair. Iran was becoming more isolated, and the Cold War powers were both trying to influence the region. The Soviet war in Afghanistan. In 1979, the USSR invaded Afghanistan, Iran's neighbor. Iran was very upset. They supported Afghan Mujahideen fighters who were resisting Soviet forces. Again, Iran and the USSR were on opposite sides. Iran didn't want Soviet power to grow in the region. They feared communism, especially since Iran had its own religious revolution. The Soviet invasion made Iran even more careful in dealing with the USSR. Gorbachev and the end of the Cold War. In the late 1980s, Mikhail Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union. He started to change many things in the USSR. He wanted better relations with all countries, including Iran. In 1989, Gorbachev visited Iran. It was a historic trip. The two countries talked about trade, cooperation, and peace, but trust was still low. Iran still remembered the Soviet support for Iraq and the invasion of Afghanistan. Collapse of the USSR. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. It broke into 15 independent countries. Russia became the main successor. Iran quickly built good relations with the new countries, including Russia and Central Asian states. The Cold War was over. A new chapter began. From invasions and revolutions to peace talks and trades, the USSR-Iran relationship was never simple. It was full of politics, power, and changing beliefs. Today, Iran and Russia share ties, but the history of the USSR still shapes their connection. If you liked this deep dive,